everybody, and welcome to the second ever Cards Open. My name is Olikrummi, and I'm a little bit laggy because I'm coming at you from the trophy room from Thor Akureyri, a sports club in the northern part of Iceland. With me, as always, is our player expert and all-around nice guy, Blue Blast. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great today, Ollie. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing the top players in cards go at it for $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see it. It's been another successful Cards Open with over 100 participants taking place in the Swiss round. We're now down to the top eight, top four. We're going to be showing you today. Maybe we just get up the bracket real quick and see how we got to where we're going to start the broadcast. Like you see the top eight there: Darkness, Snefru, Doge 34, WYDSXL, Ari Big Ben, Sanderson 26, two Dias Gain, and then J King 7. And our quarter or semifinals, sorry, is going to be Darkness versus Doge 34 and Ari Big Ben versus J King 7. Some familiar names there, Blue.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the top players in this game. And today we're going to be just jumping right into the semifinal matches. But the quarterfinals will be up on YouTube for you all to see.
Yeah, I mean we're doing this. We're doing this on a quick tight schedule. I have a plane to catch in about 3 hours, so we'll just go into the first match and start taking a look at the decks for these players. We have a brand new little deck screen to show you what these guys are bringing to the table. Blue, why don't you take us through Darkness's decks here?
Yeah, definitely. So, just starting with the Brit deck we have over here. It's going to be a Brit main with a U.S. ally, and it looks like the main game plan is to get out your honeys early, your number one commandos to stall the enemy offensive, and then really top out in some big finisher U.S. bombers like the Avenger B-17. And if you can get your health total above 30, hit him with a Commonwealth for 20 damage straight to the HQ. And then going on to the second deck, this is the new kind of version of US ramp from the post patch here. War Machine's carrier cover got changed now. It's a lot better than it was at 4 now that it's at 3. And topping out again with the big US bombers, Pershing, strategic planning to double all your units attack and defense. Really strong deck. I love ramp. Um, and so I'm hoping that that does well today. And then
Yeah.
also just going through Germany here, it looks like we have kind of a Germany mid range sort of a deck, but it does have a couple ramp cards with the war bonds and some good draw, man, with mobilization, special delivery, and again topping out at the big U.S. bombers. That seems to be a common theme throughout this tournament. People really getting value out of the TBF-1 Avenger and the B-17. And then just
Yeah, I
looking
mean both are great cards, absolutely fantastic.
at Darkness's final deck here, Soviet heavy control using the new Night Witches. Now that it adds a from the people to your hand, and it adds a 1/2 bomber to your hand and shuffles back in your deck. Infinite value, infinite cards with that as well with the first rifles, and again has a nice mid range with war bonds, workers unite to draw, and then again topping out at the big bombers and Joseph Stalin as a finisher.
Yeah, I think it's super fun to see how much diversity we've gotten into the decks with that last patch. And a great addition here, having those 4 decks instead of just 3. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Let's look at the decks that Doge 34 is bringing to the table. Um, why don't you take us through these?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the Soviet deck here. Okay, so it looks like again capitalizing on the buffed Night Witches as a way for some nice card advantage. Running the Katyushas with airstrikes. Okay, so this is a discard deck. So we're running Wolfpack, uh, Panther A, Annihilation, and Airstrike, all of the discard slash draw denial cards. So these decks really revolve around one for one trading with your opponent, and then getting in those couple two for one cards like the Wolfpack, like the Panther A, potentially in the Annihilation, and just taking away all the opponent's cards and then beating them down with big tanks. So I love this strategy a lot.
Yeah, I think this is also something we've seen increase in popularity over the past few weeks. People have really kind of identified that core draw denial control discard package from Germany, and have started running that and experimenting with that with a lot of different decks. So excited to see how that works out in a tournament setting in a Soviet deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just going to the Japanese list here. So this deck looks great. Again, this is another sort of draw denial sort of deck, but it has all the Japanese 4K infantry that draw a card when they die, discard a card from the opponent when they die, the Takasagi, the 61st infantry. And then you have a great removal unit like the Sendai to hold down a big unit. And then it tops out with Empire of the Sun, Blade of the Samurai for great removal. Empire of the Sun will refill your hand when you destroy a unit. And To the Last Man has been sort of a sleeper card as of late. Not many people really expect it coming, and it can lead to some serious blowouts, like 4 for 1, 5 for cards for your just one. The really
Yeah,
strong deck.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
and then just popping over to Germany, we have really, let's see, double Annihilation, double Wolfpack, double Panther A with Craig's Marine, Tiger E, and Leopold. Okay, so yeah, so this is again, it's as Doge has brought kind of a similar overarching strategy to his decks, it seems. But again, discard is really strong right now. It's pretty hard to counter. Uh, unless you're running like the US M4A1s that draw when the opponent gets discarded. Or you could run like a Betty deck with the new Betty and supply chain. That would be a hard counter to a deck like this. Um, but not even the discard's not even the main game plan as well, because you can just drop a Tiger E or Leopold and your Comet or your FW 190, and those can just close out the game for you.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have his Brit with German, again with the Annihilation Panther A Wolfpack package with Airstrike. And then this one is also a Commonwealth deck. So this could be interesting because you could buy yourself a lot of time with Monty, shelling, fortification, then to get off your discard cards. And then
Hmm.
eventually get above 30, Commonwealth your opponent. You have the Grenadier Guards to hold the ground. And then the Lancaster B3 is another great finisher that can just destroy your opponent's hand by increasing the card cost and going face for 5 a turn.
Yeah, it's also something that the opponent can pull out of nowhere. All of a sudden, 10 credits, boom, 5 damage to your face if you just don't have a fighter protecting that backline. So it definitely means you need to be careful about getting your HP total down below that critical point of 5 HP.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, we are hopping into the deck bans for each player. So from
Yeah.
Darkness, it looks like he has banned. Okay, so Doge has banned Darkness's Brit deck, kind of Brit Commonwealth, and Darkness has banned Doge's Brit Commonwealth. So nobody wants to face the Brits today.
Yeah, no Britain allowed in this first match. Let's just roll the matches and get this show on the road. Uh, All right, there we go. The first match in this semifinals of the Cards Open number 2. It is Darkness against Dog 34. We see Moscow against El Alamein, right? Yep. Germany against Soviets in this first matchup. And just like I talked about, really looking forward to seeing that Soviet deck from Dog there with that draw denial package, seeing how that plays out.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always great to see the customizable HQs from the Theaters of War expansion. It changes the board, adds in some new animations and new textures on the board. They really, really look nice.
Yeah, I also want to point out that little pistol that Doug has there on the table looks really good. It's the upgraded pistol there for the Soviets. Um, but we go into the game. Darkness is going first, keeping that Arado, not playing it because he isn't getting the value of the draw with it. But Night Witch is coming out turn 1 for Doug there. So Darkness knows he has a From the People on the hand.
That's right. And the Gebirgsjäger is a great counter to that. Doesn't get hit with From the People, although he can. Doge can play the 1-2 bomber. Is it the Polyakopov or
Polyakopov, yeah, something like that.
You know, he can play that, and the Gebirgsjäger is a pretty slow-moving infantry, so he could play that, do 1 damage. Darkness moves it up, and then he can do 1 more damage to finish it off. Second Gebirgsjäger off the top, and then a sudden strike for the Katusha. It's interesting that he wouldn't wait until turn 3 to get the blitz off on the Katusha.
Yeah, and look here. I'm wondering if we're gonna see Cuban Cossacks come out here for Dog, or if he's gonna look to maybe just play an airstrike here and try and maybe get Darkness to trip up and play a unit, put himself at a little bit of card disadvantage. I'm not sure. I don't think. I mean, obviously, he can't From the People, the Gebirgsjäger. I see nothing that he can do here outside of running the Cuban Cossacks into it or playing airstrike.
Yeah, I like running the Cossacks in there. It just gets the trade-off, takes that 3-2 off the board, and then, you know, if he's playing around the second Gebirgsjäger, which it looks like he did, then he doesn't get the +1/+1 off the Alpine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he's going for that play now this turn with the Polyakopov plus airstrike. So if Darkness plays his Flame Panzer, he's gonna kill that 1-2, but then he's gonna get it back.
Ooh. Getting the B-17 discarded. That's not perfect for him. But as you pointed out, he's running those M4A1s in his deck, so he got 2 cards from that.
Yeah, the M4A1 is a really hard counter to all the discard package going on right now.
I have a question for you there. A turn 6 for Darkness. Is there a reason why he would not play, you know, War Bonds and then attack instead, opting for the mobilization?
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, you could go for the card draw, but if you War Bonds first, it's going to increase your overall total number of credits, and therefore you can do more on the following turn. You have a stronger economy. So, you know, to me, he wasn't hurting for cards in that situation. I think it would have been fine to play the War Bonds and then save the mobilization till later.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out okay for him, though. Able to deal with anything that Dog 34 plays out there and push back into the front line. He has that special delivery in hand as well, and the tactical strike to deal with, for instance, the Panzer 3H now, which only has 4 HP. So ends up in a pretty good spot here, even though, you know, we could debate the order preference back and forth. Ooh.
While Zhukov on the 6th Airborne is pretty huge. He doesn't have the what's it called? The red banner to go with it, but I think even getting down a 2K 5/7 is pretty strong there. Plus the
Yeah,
5/5 could
and
have traded.
exactly. He had enough credits left so that he could trade the 5/5 into the frontline Whirlwind. But instead, he ends up playing that Panther 3H, and Darkness takes the opportunity and just floods the board. All of a sudden, Darkness sitting on, what, 9 power on board and only 8 HP left on the headquarters. So, I'm going to see the Naval Brigade come out here.
Yeah, interesting play. Doge he's really not utilizing all of his credits on each turn. Like, because he's just left 2 on the board, right? And at this stage of the game, you really need to be the most credit efficient as possible, get the most value out of your time and your credits. So I think maybe playing the armored train there plus the Panzer H would have been a little better, or even you could have played the train plus hammer the flame Panzer, or just something like that, because he's leaving resources on the table.
Yeah, we've seen Doge, pretty comfortably with a big hand this entire game, but hasn't been able to get the full value from those cards as much as we would have wanted. But I think this is almost game, because that Avenger that Darkness is sitting on, it's gonna take out the train next turn.
Yeah, it's going to take out the train, put him to 1. He's going to have 3 different units that are each lethal. And Doge can't play the Bloody Sickle anymore.
I mean, what options does Doge have here? I don't see a lot of them. I mean,
just looking at his deck, the Naval Brigade's gone. An FW with 190 would block against the bomber, but then he's just dead to like the Whirlwind.
Yep, there we go. Just too many threats on the board there for Darkness. In the absence of Doge being able to deal with that Avenger, that game was just done. I would say well played by both players there. I feel like one of the downsides, well, I wouldn't say downsides, but one of the changes with the latest patch and the shakeup on the meta is that it's so much harder to look at these matches and give an accurate prediction in advance which direction it's going to go, and then be shocked if there's an upset, right? I mean, for there, I don't really know which deck wins this most of the time, but judging by that game, it looks like Germany probably has a significant advantage there.
Yeah, I think just the fact that he has the M4 A1s, it's a 4/5 that it draws itself when you get discarded, and it's immune to all targeted removal, right? Like, that's huge.
Yeah, and probably that's one of the reasons why he won that game. I mean, as soon as Doge was starting to use his draw denial package and threw out that wolf pack and some of that discard, boom, he's got 2 of those tanks in his hand, and he's able to play them on curve. So decision working out for Darkness, definitely. And I think we're going to see those cards rise in popularity massively as we see more discard.
Yeah, absolutely. So Darkness up 1 over Doge 34. And going into game 2, Darkness has chosen his US ramp deck. US Brit ramp deck, I should say. And Doge has gone for his Germany discard control.
Yeah. He's got 2 airstrikes in his hand right now, and so far, Darkness hasn't played a unit. So Doge might be pretty good at getting some value out of those airstrikes. Unfortunately for him, though, Darkness doesn't have any units in hand that he can play at the moment. So
no, and I think
see
he's
how he
okay.
deals with this.
I think he's okay if Doge just doesn't want to play anything, because he can just ramp. Can go carrier cover into war bonds, and doesn't really care about anything that he's doing. He has the Avenger ready for something like the FW or the Panther A. He has the 101st Airborne for the autocannon.
What I would love to see, and obviously the main reason why I want to see this, because I know that the airstrike is active, is if he plays that Blackwatch. he's going to be able to play the Blackwatch next turn as well.
Oh wow, yeah. Give the orders +4.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel like, I've played quite a bit of that card, that bounce card, the airstrike, but when people play effectively around it and play units that have deploy effects that get sent back into hand, it can really, really mess up your strategy. And you see now, look, this is what, the third turn in a row where Doge has left at least 3 credits unspent. Look,
Yeah.
boom,
Oh wow.
11 credit annihilation, man. Wow.
Getting off the double Blackwatch, that is disgusting.
And he has another one in the deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, he can make that annihilation unplayable.
Yep. And now he's gotten to ramp so much that he's able to just drop down that Avenger and still make other plays at this point in the game. Push the Blackwatch into the front line, play that air defense. Darkness in a really, really commanding situation here now. I wonder, I wish we could interview Darkness and ask him if he played that Blackwatch, knowingly into that airstrike, because I feel like if you're playing against Doge here and he's left 3 credits unspent for 3 turns in a row until turn 6, he's probably playing an airstrike, right?
Yes, that's a pretty big tell. And, a player of Darkness's caliber is definitely going to be tipped off to something like that. Like he's going to be absolutely playing around things like airstrike and actually using it to his advantage, like he did with the Blackwatch.
Yeah, and that's 7 credit tactical strike, taking up the full turn for Doge 34 there. What do you want to see him play here now? Do you want to see him just go for more ramp, or do you want to see him play maybe the Seaboard Invasion and try and do something in the front line?
I mean, honestly, he double Blackwatch Doge's hand. I kind of like just getting the Seaborn down, rolling the dice, and try to get 2 5/5s or 4 4s, and just start hitting face and go that way. But getting down low 101st and pushing up it's not a bad play either.
I mean, he probably estimates as well, and I would say accurately that he doesn't have a ton of units that he's going to be able to deal with using that deploy effect from the 101st, just given where the game is at and so on. Air defense being used to good extent here as well.
Yeah, and the second Avenger off the top is that's like the crushing blow for Doge here. And it's interesting that Darkness, instead of going face with the 4/3 that has ambush, he decided to miss 4 damage on HQ and go for the value trade on the Whirlwind, while also putting out an air defense, right? Like air defense will kill the Whirble, and Whirble can attack into his guy with ambush or his 1/6 with guard. So it seems like it could have been a miss of 4 damage there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering when I saw him make that play, and I was wondering if there was any special reason for why he would choose to go for the trade there instead of going face. I wonder if he's just looking to get more value out of the air defense, possibly hit one of those FW 190s with it, or something like that. I don't know.
And here Darkness is in a great spot. He has some really high health units clogging up the front line, and this Avenger is lethal in 3 turns. But again, he's going for the value trade, which is, at this
and I would
point,
say
Doge would have been at 4, right? He would have been dead next turn if Darkness had just gone face.
Yeah, that's true. And now he's got things like he's got From the Deep. So let's say Darkness was going to play that Pershing this turn. That would be dead on deployment. So we'll see if that's going to be a mistake that ends up costing Darkness the game here. I don't necessarily think so. He's just really, really far ahead. He has no issues with cards. He has a ton of pressure on the board. I think he's sitting pretty at the moment, but that Leopold, however, might change the game.
Wow, look at that. Leopold. That'll definitely buy him some time.
And it discards 2 of those cards as well. Unlucky for Doge, however, that the cards that weren't discarded. Man, strategic planning though. Well, the cards that weren't discarded were the 2 cards that he really wanted to discard. It was the Black Watch and the 101st.
Now, it looks like he doesn't have an immediate way of dealing with the Leopold here, because he can Pershing frontline and kill the Takasagi, but then he still has Leopold. Okay, so it looks like Darkness going for the go wide plan here, and then trying to set up the airstrike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Doge, you should know that there's an airstrike waiting for you when Darkness makes that play.
So looking from Doge here, what can he do to kind of dig himself out of this hole here?
You can use the Annihilation on the P40, right?
He could annihilate the P40. He could annihilate the 101st. I guess one thing that's good that's going for Doge here is that Darkness doesn't have the M4A1s in his deck that draw on discard. So that's like 2 less threats he has to deal with.
Yeah, you see there, Doge, he ended up going for the attack on the Black Watch with the Leopold and being taken out by that airstrike, the air defense. Sorry.
Yeah, just Doge is kind of choosing not to really play around countermeasures here.
Yeah. But again, that deploy effect doing its job there, netting him the getting rid of the Takasagi, and he ends up with 8 damage in his backline in the form of fighters. That P40 really restricting anything that Doge might play. This is going to be a tough one, and obviously we know that Darkness is sitting on the carrier cover, so he's going to be able to throw anything back into hand that he wants to use. But I wonder if we're going to see his Pershing pushed back into hand here by that second airstrike.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Darkness
discarded.
And it was discarded. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Wow, 13k Annihilation, just unplayable.
Yeah, 13k Annihilation, and Darkness has only drawn a single Black Watch this game. He's played that Black Watch 3 times. And a surrender coming in from Doge.
Wow.
I think that's... Oh, yeah, well, I mean, Darkness could just attack the guard and then go twice to face. So...
Right. Well, so here we are.
All right.
Darkness up 0-2 or 2-0 over Doge 34. So going into game 3, Darkness has to bring his Soviet deck, and Doge still has the choice to bring whatever he wants. I mean, what do you think Doge brings here to counter Soviet?
Oof. I mean, to be honest, I think I'd probably want to see him bring... I mean, what his Japan deck was a combo of basically draw denial and German stuff. It was just the inverse of his German deck. So
yeah,
I mean, I think he's better off just bringing Germany again, like he did there. I think Germany with the Leopold and the German elites in there is going to give him a bigger and better chance to dealing with whatever Darkness plays at him. I guess the only exception would be if he got a really good to the last man off as Japan, but I think he made the right choice here bringing Germany.
Right. Yeah, Germany has some really nice removal, sun strikes that can kill the Katusha and the tactical strikes and Skyburns as well to deal with the big bombers that Darkness will deploy with its US ally.
Yeah. But Darkness here has those M4A1s again. I guess unlucky. He's got one in his hand at the moment. I say unlucky because I know that Doge is holding on to that wolf pack, waiting to play that on turn 5 if he can.
Wow, yeah, really strong opening from Darkness here. I mean, turn 2 Katusha into turn 3 Cossacks. Sunstrike can come down and kill the Katusha. The Cossacks is still going to get the free kill on the Whirlwind, and then Darkness can drop the M4A1 next turn and have a really strong board. And then Warbond's the turn after.
Yeah, absolutely, man. His board's gonna be super strong. Yeah, his board's gonna be really strong, man. Ooh, even a Sukov. So I almost, I don't necessarily think it's the right play, but I almost wanted to see him Sukov there to see if he would be able to maybe play a bigger unit there and do a little more that turn. But I kind of like how he ended up playing it, just going face with the Cossacks, really not worrying about the trade. Now he draws the engineers. Ouch. He gets the engineers discarded.
Yeah, and that's nice, using the hammer on the Takasagi. He knows he's going to draw his other M4A1.
Yeah. Man, that's actually a great point. I hadn't thought about that. That must feel really good. Now, I wonder what he's going to do here. He's going to go and trade with the Takasagi and then try and get the M4 out, play the M4 and then trade. I think this is the better play. Yep. I think that was a great play by him playing that Sukov before he even considered killing that Takasagi. He doesn't want to give up more cards, that are good for free in the discard.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah. Yeah, getting the 1K first rifles was really insane there. It just kind of fit in perfectly with the whole rest of his turn. So now Doge
if you think about it.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, if you think about it, like, I mean, the only card that he would really afford or want to lose in his hand at that time was the Bloody Sickle. So it kind of makes sense to try and get value out of the cards you've already drawn before you commit that card.
Honestly, I think Darkness should just go for the ramp here and to drop down the B-17 next turn. Double Sickle, interesting. Okay, so it looks like he's just pushing face here.
Man. Yeah, I like that. But Darkness, man, he lives on the edge. I wouldn't have the nerves to to double sickle that. I would be so afraid of losing any one of my cards there.
Yeah, losing the Avenger really hurt there, but now that you look at it, he has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage on the board, plus Siberian Transfer is another 5, so potentially 15 damage next turn.
And what he did as well is he's dealt with both of the Takasagis, so there aren't any more Takasagis. And finding those Euro factories right at the right time there, man.
And Euro Factories is a great combo with the B-17 because you can only get one card out of it, and that's Pershing.
Yep. But he chooses to go for that KV instead.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I don't think Doge has any chance of getting back from this. And nope, he does not. That was a surrender. 3 surrenders in a row. 3-0 there for Darkness. Clearly, he is intent on defending his title here at the KARDS Open. Starting the tournament with a dominating fashion here in the semifinals. 3-0ing Doge 34. A player who we know is a really, really good player. Consistently at the top of the ladder there. But just shows us, man, Darkness is really getting into a class of his own in these competitions, man. I mean, he won the last Open, and here he is again in the finals. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's here to win, right? He's here to dominate. Just amazing, really impressive performance from Darkness in this first semifinal match here. And GG all around too. Like you said, Doge, great player, put up a good fight. But Darkness he's here to win.
Absolutely. let's take a look at the bracket if we can to see how it looks like after that match. It's going to be Darkness moving on into the finals there. Doge34 taking the third place match. Who is he going to face there, and who's Darkness going to face in the finals? It's going to be either Ari Big Ben or J King 7. Two other names that are really, really familiar. J King 7, he's won the last 2 seasons on the ladder, if I'm not mistaken. And Ari Big Ben, obviously a regular in the OCC and a regular at the top of the ladder. Really looking forward to seeing the games between these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay King, just a phenomenal player on ladder. This was actually his third season win in a row.
Oh yeah.
So he, yeah, he's made cards history here. 3 seasons in a row. Really undisputed champion on ladder. And so I'm really excited to see who's going to win. Again, Ari, another titan of this game. Um, Top 8 Officer Club winner, multiple season winner.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the decks that they're bringing here. Ari bringing a German, British, Soviet, and Japan decks. Yes, we have a Betty deck. If I'm not mistaken, yep, absolutely. We do have a Betty deck. We have the supply shipment and the special delivery combo from the US side there. And then a bunch of smaller units being comboed with, where is it? Naval Supply Run. This is a deck that Ari did right after the last patch changes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that in a tournament setting, man. Have you played against this deck?
I've played against this deck a couple times on ladder, actually. Yeah, I've played against Ari as well with it, and it it's fun. I'm surprised that he's bringing it to the tournament. That is going to be really fun to see. It can be. I don't know. The only thing with the Betty is it has weak HP, right? But you can get it down pretty early and get in 3 damage. That's really evasive for only 1K. And the supply shipment is going to be really nice too on the bicycle regiment. You turn 1 that move that up, turn 2 play that. You have a 3/4 in the front line with Fury, 6 damage on turn 2. So the damage output is massive with this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And some key cards in there as well are the honorable deaths. They got some buffs in the last patch as well, and that actually does quite a bit in that deck. Having that cheap removal, even though you give your opponent a card for it. If we head on over to the Soviet deck here, I think this is just another one that we've seen this one a few times. This is kind of this Soviet value U.S. ally. There's an alliance in there to buff some of the Soviet units. It's not really rolling a lot of those low cost units, but it's all about that mid to late game value. Am I right?
Yeah, and this has been a kind of a very standard strong deck for a while. It took a little bit of a hiatus in the last season with German tanks being so dominating. But now with the balance changes here, it's kind of opened up the door for more mid to late game decks like the Soviets to come back and come back in a big way. So it'll be exciting to see.
Absolutely. And then we head on over to the Britain deck, and that's it's not going to be one of those commando spell based decks, but it's just a really kind of well structured Britain deck. Pretty interesting to see Japan being brought as an ally there, bringing in the honorable deaths, the Takasagis, and the Empire of the Suns. I haven't seen this particular configuration of a Commonwealth deck before, though. Do you have any insight?
Well, I can tell you, Empire of the Sun is Ari's favorite card. He'll play it in as many decks as he can. But seriously, again, with Honorable Death is such a strong card now. Like you said, it does give the opponent a card, but the tempo you gain from having a 1 credit removal that gets rid of most guards and smokescreen units is just absolutely devastating. Like, sure, they get an extra card, but their main defender is gone, right? And this deck, it looks like it tops out at Commonwealth, has lots of healing. So this should do really well versus any sort of aggressive deck. I don't know,
Mm.
against discard, any sort of discard plan, it looks like it could get hurt that way. But he does have four of the convoy uh, to kind of get that card advantage going again if he loses it temporarily. So this looks like
Yeah.
a really strong deck.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing that one. Lastly, but not least, we do have a German deck, a standard kind of German value. I don't see anything that too out of the ordinary there. There's an Admiral Hipper. He's not running the wolf packs, so he's less draw denial and just more unit value there. Looks like.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he could have already adapted from the new discard meta. That the wolf pack's just not as good sometimes, and sometimes you just want to play more value units, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have it. Yeah, he doesn't actually have anything that directly makes the opponent discard, so they're not going to be able to draw those M4s out of their deck. Panther A just stops a draw. Admiral Hipper stops a draw.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, that's
interesting.
actually a really good point. That's a really good point. Let's bring up the decks for J King 7 here as well. Let's jump through these fairly quickly. I mean, most of these are, even though they do have slight variations, they do kind of follow a similar theme. What I want to dig in specifically here on the J King side is that Soviet deck. He has been one of the guys consistently playing Soviet for a long time. What is he doing different in his Soviet deck from the rest?
Yeah, I would say he's the most experienced Soviet player probably in the game, right? He has been tinkering and kind of pioneering with Soviet ever since he's came onto the card scene. So he knows the deck inside and out, right? And uh, it looks like he's playing Tractor Factories, which is interesting. Tractor Factories, but no ramp. So it's really heavy Soviet value. Doesn't care about ramping, just playing value units and the B-17s with the Ural Factory combo. I know that's a combo he really loves to do. B-17, then Ural Factory it, get your Pershing, and close out
Yeah.
the game that way. And yeah, this looks like a really solid deck, and probably one of the best players to pilot as well.
Absolutely. All right, if we jump on over to his British deck there, it looks when you start at the top, it looks fairly basic, but then you start seeing, Nurse Cadet Corps, the M4 A1s. You see the We Can Do It, Corsairs. It starts, being a little bit more standard, but this is a slightly different deck than we've seen from Britain, right? This is more of what focusing on air units in the later games and probably wanting to close it out with a good rule Britannia instead of a Commonwealth.
Yeah, and Commonwealth is sometimes it can't be a super reliable way to end the game, and you kind of just need to find other avenues of winning. Because if you take too much damage in the early game, it can be really hard to get your life total above 30 again,
Hmm.
unless you're running the really quick healing like fortifications. But in this deck, it looks like he just kind of has some incidental healing with the honeys, and this looks pretty solid. I mean, they're playing kind of all the best cards: the Black Watch, the Beast or the Avenger, Corsair, Carpet Bomb to deal with any going wide board, and yeah, Rule Britannia to close out the game. B-17s.
Yep. And then we go over to his Japan deck, Japan US. Um, Again, we don't see a ton of kind of draw denial coming here from, or almost any really. Uh, just
Yeah,
another solid deck of units.
yeah, solid units, value. B-17 Avenger. I think every single deck. Man, I think B-17 and Avenger, if we counted all the copies, I think that would be the most copies or the most of those cards among all the decks in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Lastly, his US deck. That is a deck that is ramp. I think we've seen this deck quite a few times. Nothing really new or massively surprising there. Just need a really good pilot to be able to pilot that over to victory. And I think with that, we are ready to jump into the second semi-final of the day. Let's take a look at the bans here. Ari Big Ben getting his Japan deck banned out and banning out J King's Japan deck. So we don't get to see the Betty deck. No!
Oh man, J King, why? Why'd you have to take that away from the viewers?
Why? J King, why? I wanted to see that so bad, but we are into the series. It is Ari Big Ben against J King 7, two titans of the game clashing here in the KARDS Open semifinals. Ari Big Ben going first, J King 7 going second into the mulligan. We go.
Yeah, so it looked like J King tossing back all the expensive drops, everything, just looking for that turn 2 War Machine into like a turn 3 carrier cover, turn 4 War Bonds. Or actually,
Found it.
turn 3 P40 actually maybe is better.
Yeah, I would expect that P40 to come out turn 3 every time you can. So if you're a new player and you're about to play cards, go find the resources to craft that P40 and then play it on curve. Man, it is the most constricting card that you will find in the game. I guess Ari can count himself pretty lucky here that he was able to play that autocannon before that went out. So he's able to start dishing out some of the damage there. Where did that 2 damage... Oh, it came from the deploy effect on the autocannon.
Yeah, deploying the Flame Panzer.
Yeah.
So interesting decision here from J King if he wants to just trade with the autocannon and keep ramping, or if he wants to risk it with the air defense.
Yeah. I mean, Ari Big Ben would definitely have to show some presence of mind there using the... well, he wouldn't even be able to use the Flampanzer to kill the P40, so he would have to use the autocannon.
Yeah.
So that was really a good trade there for J King.
So deciding if he's going to use his carrier cover, decides against it.
Why? Why would that be?
So I mean, with a kind of a nice combo with carrier cover is with your Avengers and B-17s, you can actually use the ability to get your Avenger back to your hand, and you can play it again.
That's actually a really good point that I hadn't thought out like that. Ari just going for the tactical strike, getting rid of that Corsair. Corsair taking out that Flampanzer, so decent trade there in the end for J King. Interesting. Is he going to go for a double ramp here? Do you think he's going to put that air defense on? I feel like there's not a ton that Ari Big Ben can be running here that's going to be played and attack the same turn, so pretty safe for J King to go for the double ramp here.
Yeah, and you know, he could have maybe saved it to get like above 12, but I think in the getting the shorter term value out of it is better. And look at that, he can just B-17 plus hold up air defense.
Mm-hmm. And then we're probably going to see the B-17 coming out from Ari right in return, or the Avenger actually. That's pretty interesting that the Avenger came out there, because we know that Ari has the B-17 in his deck as well.
Yeah, it's nice there.
High altitude bombing here maybe for J King.
Yeah, that's pretty. High altitude bombing is pretty strong here. Oh, not super good choices off of Jasco, Chaffee, or the Marauder.
Come on, Chaffee, do it. Get it to the front line, J King. We believe. All of Twitch chat is rooting for that Chaffee to make it to the front line. I mean, personally, yes! I would personally take the Jasco, but I'm really happy that he took the Chaffee. I mean, I think high altitude bombing makes all the sense in the world here. These are two targets that are both sticky and hard to deal with. I think the only other option that he really had was maybe to just accept that he was going to take 4 damage from the tank there and play the air defense against the Avenger and hope for the best.
Yeah, or playing around Comet there with their defense. So Panzer H is actually in a good spot where it can't be hit by Avenger anymore, having the 4 HP.
Yeah.
So I
J-King does. I was kind of thinking, he does have the to the last to the. No, wait, that's strategic planning. Sorry, I thought that was to the last man, but that's Japan. Playing that Chaffee.
Going for the Chaffee.
Do you think it's gonna make it to the front line?
Not a chance.
I feel like there should be like there should be a counter on the front page of cards that just counts the number of Chaffies that have made it to the front line, and it would probably be at a single digit number at the moment. Oh no! Game, why you do this? Man, first they ban each other's Japan deck, then the game kills the Chaffee. Man, come on. Where's all our fun today here, Blue?
No fun, it's just business today.
It shouldn't be a surprise. These guys are definitely all business, and they're not taking any prisoners here. This game is super interesting to me because, dude, both guys have 12 credits. Both guys have a bunch of stuff in hand, but we're 18 health and 20 health on the HQs respectively. So, man, this is what we call going to late game.
That's right. And J-King with the double Avenger play here. Yeah, it looks like he's going to put it in guard here to play around the Comet.
Yeah.
Yeah, really well played there.
Yeah, excellent play. And what he's looking to do, I'm pretty sure, is play that strategic planning next turn.
Yeah, and well, Ari has an Avenger. Too bad he doesn't have enough credits to Avenger plus Comet and kill one of the bombers.
Oh, but look, him playing the Avenger there means that he doesn't have an Avenger to play once J-King does play that strategic planning.
I think if J-King wants to keep playing around Comet, he has to put the Grenadier guards in between the two Avengers. Yeah. And then go for a big strategic planning maybe next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would have expected as well, but it seems like he's thinking about using strategic planning here. It does put a lot of pressure on Ari Big Ben there to be able to deal with both of those Avengers, but I'd be so afraid of just getting taken out by a Sky Barons or something like that I would really want that strategic planning to hit an infantry unit as well, and we see it there, man.
Wow, another B-17. I think that was I think that was a top deck for Ari.
It was.
But here comes another 8-8 in the Pershing. I believe Ari, is he out of B-17s now? Or does he have one more?
No, he's out.
So this is looking kind of rough here. Admiral Hipper takes care of the Avenger.
Admiral Hipper. I have a question. Would you send the Avenger back over the Pershing? Because the Avenger has an on-deploy effect, right? So the Avenger will be able to take out the next Panther A, the Tiger IE. Or maybe he was just thinking about playing the Leopold anyway.
Yeah,
he found that from the top of his deck.
It's a bad situation either way. It's like the Pershing can just come back, or you can lose the buff on the Avenger, but then it gets us on deploy again.
Yeah. What do you play this?
So J-King has a rescue mission here, which will double any of his units that dies.
Mm.
Ooh, there's that from the deep.
But I mean, that wasn't awful for J King. Having that Corsair getting from the deep, at least he got a 1-for-1 trade from it.
Yeah, that's right. J King's going to have a kind of a tough time dealing with this Leopold here. I mean, he could
I feel
send it
like
to hand, but that doesn't really do much. It just buys him a turn.
I feel like he's playing that rescue mission at the exactly correct time. That Leopold is more than likely going to hit his Avenger out of the sky to protect itself. And at the end of this turn, no, opting for the Grenadier Guards. Interesting. Do you know why that would be? Why would you go for the guards there? Oh, he's going to play the Comet, of course.
Yeah, so you
Of
get the
course.
Comet trade.
Yeah,
I
makes sense.
honestly think maybe getting 2 Grenadiers is better for J King. I mean, they have pretty high health. It takes the Leopold 2 hits to kill 1.
Yeah. But I wonder if you're Ari Big Ben now, don't you just start blasting face with that Leopold?
Well, he's in kind of a sweet spot where he doesn't really have to. Like, he can just start going face with the Tiger E here and keep Leopold as a way to just clear all the guards, any sort of resistance that J King can put up.
So what's J King gonna play here? He's gonna play those war bonds, and a rescue mission, or is he gonna throw the Tiger back into Ari's hand? Man, this is a high level game. These are such complex decisions these players are making right now. A lot of implications for every move they make.
Yeah, I mean, I think J King just has to rescue mission and keep playing Grenadier Guards. I mean, he's in kind of a bad spot here.
You should go for the trade, I think.
Well, if he goes for the trade, then Tiger E gets a clean trade. But that's going to happen anyway, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's a question of whether or not he eats, both an attack from the Tiger IE and the Leopold, which he does in the end. Interesting. Maybe you can explain that to me, Blue. Why would Ari
using the tactical strike there?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of getting to this point in the game where Ari's like, okay, J King has more Grenadier Guards. I just need to get in 7 damage to the face. So that Leopold can be lethal in 2 turns. I think it's kind of hit that point like I need to just close out the game. Because he can just play guards forever.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's exactly as you called it. We see Ari Big Ben there swapping his damage over into the HQ. The We Can Do It is not going to be enough to keep J King alive for another turn. So he's going to have to pull something out here. But what can he do?
I mean, he could send the Leopold back to hand, but then he just Leopolds and he has enough credits to hit face with the Tiger E. Seaborn
invasion could be good, but I don't think I do not think that's enough. He has no way to kill that Leopold. He has no way to kill that Tiger.
Like, if he had one more credit and then he got a Seaborn with the double Blitz 3/4, he could trade with Leo, but no dice.
No dice, and a super hard fought game there between Ari Big Ben and J King 7, but in the end, Ari taking home the victory in game number 1. J King sending the brand new "It's Over" emote, and with that, Ari Big Ben takes a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 semi-final series between him and J King 7. What do you think we're gonna see in the next match there, Blue?
Yeah, I mean, going into the next match, Ari can either play his Soviet kind of heavy control or the Brit Commonwealth. I think, if it's kind of a toss up because he doesn't really know
It's
what
gonna
J
be
King's
Soviet.
going to bring. Oh, yeah.
All right, J King opting there to go for his U.S. ramp deck, not bringing his Soviet deck again. All right, Big Ben bringing his Soviet deck, taking on the Soviet master himself with his Soviet deck. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. This is a matchup that J King should know really, really well.
Yeah, J King, this kind of the Soviet master here, knows the ins and outs of the deck, really knows what cards he can expect to see. And the tournament was actually open deckless as well. So they do know what cards the opponents have exactly.
Yeah. All right, Big Ben, however, with a really, really commanding start there. Air defense, saving J King some hurt, stopping that attack from the Cossacks on the HQ. Pretty good value there. But Ari Big Ben already having those 2 units on board, with those guard units already in the front line, starting to pit up a big fight, but the Avenger is going to be able to take out, hopefully, the frontline guards. I guess J King crosses his fingers there. It's the 16th Rifles.
Yeah, I mean, J King's already up to 8 credits. Yeah, Corsair's a decent play. Avenger's a little bit risky. If he doesn't get the 3/5, then it's susceptible to a Bloody Sickle to finish it off.
I wonder what you play here.
Man, I think you just go for the kill on the KV1. Nice.
Nice.
Perfect Avenger shot.
Yeah, and well played by J King. For those that didn't realize, he attacked the 15th Motor Rifles there in the backline so that he could guarantee that they would not be hit by that Avenger, bringing it under 5 defense. So now he's able to, if he wants, play another Avenger. No, he won't be able to trade actually after he plays that Avenger. I wonder, why don't you just play the 101st Airborne, take out the 15th Motor Rifles, and then play just ram the Corsair into the frontline rifles?
You could do that. I mean, I'm not opposed to just playing Avenger here again and killing the 3/5 and then slamming the Corsair into the face.
I like that play. I think that was a good play.
So
I think, in general, I think when you are able to send an infantry unit that has been played and pushed into the front line back into an owner's hand, that is extremely good.
Oh, well, Night Witch is here going to net him a good removal spell in the form of From the People. Can hit the 4/3 ambush or the 4/3 fighter. Goes for the ambush. J King already has that Avenger ready to play before he even drew a card.
It looks like he wasn't really too hesitant to play it either, now that there was no presence in the front line there from Ari Big Ben. So a little bit more security for him and for his bomber there. What do you pick out of these 3? I think Pershing makes sense, personally.
Yeah, I think Pershing always, that's like the card you're looking for, right? Like the second Pershing. It can be kind of unexpected. And it's just such a powerful card later in the game when you have like 16 credits where you can play and move it up and hit.
Man, that B-17 getting out-traded by that Corsair. Unlucky for Ari there.
Oh, is J King really just going to go for a naked Pershing here? Ari has sitting on double Avenger and B-17.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he feels like it's a throwaway Pershing, air quotes throwaway Pershing, because he got it from that Few Good Men, but he also doesn't know what we know in terms of what Ari is sitting on in his hand. But interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what they end up doing here.
Well, this rescue mission is going to be great. Can it net him
Yeah.
two more Avengers? Or maybe not. Maybe he'll go for the B-17 here.
Ooh.
Or Carpet Bomb is pretty nice as well. Although it doesn't get to play rescue mission, 1 credit short of doing both. He could have carrier covered his Avenger back to his hand if he really wanted to keep it.
Yeah. Is there going to be a critical hit following that? Or, yeah, the Naval Brigade taking that out.
Nice double hit on the Katusha.
Ooh, another carpet bomb. I was just about to say, man, J King probably wishes he had another carpet bomb now. Finds it there. Yeah, I would say, yeah, he's going to get another credit slot. And this is the downside of having that slow-moving infantry, right? Look at all the time that J King has. He has all the time in the world to deal with that Naval Brigade, to deal with any of that stuff that is being played out by Ari Big Ben. It's just slowly marching across the field. And meanwhile, J King is able to find his mass removal spells, is able to find his carrier covers, and so far hasn't been on the receiving end of a whole lot of pressure. So, playing
unlucky
this,
hit there.
I wouldn't even say that's that unlucky, because this would have guaranteed that B-17 would have died with the attack from both the KV-1 and the Naval Brigade. So,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but look how much damage Ari has on board. I mean, he has lethal next turn. And
that's true.
J King only has enough credits to play 1 B-17 and doesn't even have enough to we can do it in B-17.
He doesn't even have enough to survive next turn. That's man, I completely spaced on that. So even though that pressure from Ari has been slow moving across the field, oh, Seaborn might save him.
Oh, wow.
Oof, buys the turn at least.
Yeah, it's gonna buy a turn. Or maybe
Tries to play that
potentially
B-17.
not. Yeah, just play the other B-17, and this just. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is game. There's nothing really that J King is able to find in his bag of tricks there that's going to be able to help him. I don't even think there is anything. Nope. And the surrender comes in, and with that, Ari Big Ben moves over into 2-0 in this second semifinal of the KARDS Open. J King really struggling to find his groove here against an Ari Big Ben that came to play.
Yeah, Ari just a phenomenal player. His plays have just been tight today, and really on point. You know, now he's down to his last deck here, his British, and J King still has the ability to bring whatever deck he wants. You know, I think, what would be the best matchup against Brit? Honestly, maybe his Brit.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's going with US. Okay.
Third time lucky. a little bit of banter there.
Yeah, these guys are good friends, and I'm sure they're just happy to be in this tournament and competing.
Yeah, I mean, so from my experience, US ramp does pretty good against kind of most of these commando type decks from Britain. But what we know is that Ari isn't running that traditional commando deck.
Yeah,
And I
interesting
just got
opening. Yeah.
corrected. I just got corrected, and absolutely rightfully so. That wasn't a surrender. That was the KV1 draw effect taking down J King that last game. J King, an experienced tournament veteran, knows that you don't surrender tournament games.
That's right. J-King already has the war bonds ready to go. You
Yeah.
thought about the Blackwatch for a second there. Blackwatch is just devastating versus Brit.
Yeah. I almost would have wanted to see him play that Blackwatch first, but just almost.
I mean, Ari already above 30.
But look at that, dude. We're what, turn 5? Yeah, exactly. But that carpet bomb really coming at a great time there for J King, getting that out, getting rid of all those units that have been built up in the backline, and more importantly, getting his P40 back. And I think, like, yeah, sure, you don't really move your units a ton when you're playing Britain. You know, you don't really march across the field too aggressively. You more kind of play around buffing your units and controlling the board over time and kind of building your advantage. So even though you might think the P40 isn't really good against Britain, it really does choke out what that British deck can do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the advantage too for J King is his units are big and they hit hard, right? It like the carpet bomb in Ari's hand is not going to be able to deal with any of these units that J King is deploying.
Nope. And that Avenger coming out from J King, taking out that RAAF fighter. I wonder if he. Nah, I mean, you wouldn't want to carrier cover here. You'd probably want to hold on to it. Or is the next credit that important? I mean,
I honestly like getting the B-17 back in hand. Seems like a really strong play, but you could just wait. You know, he's under no pressure at all from Ari.
And I mean, I guess he does get his B-17 protected there for a little while by that Sendai.
Yeah, so I wonder if is J King just gonna start hitting face with the Avenger and get down like the Black Watch and the P40 maybe? Looks like he's going for a we can do it.
Yeah, I would expect him to start transitioning over into hitting face, especially as we just draw closer to that 12 credit mark for Ari. He just wants to make sure that there's no possible way that Ari's going to be able to give him a Commonwealth slapping. So just, you know, ticking on that HQ every now and then with some damage, keeping it under 30. Really important against British decks. I mean, in general, what you want to do when you're playing Britain is you want to have the opponent deal with everything else outside of your HP gain, and then you Commonwealth them all of a sudden. That's ideally where you want to take it, but it doesn't always work out perfectly.
That's right. And J King can be actually pretty tactical with his Black Watch here. He could wait until turn 11 and then Black Watch and then hit J King's Commonwealth and make it cost 14 credits. You know, he doesn't like he could wait up until the last possible moment to play Black Watch to try to, you know, if Ari happened to top deck a Commonwealth, just make it so it's unplayable.
Wait, J King didn't trigger air defense and didn't attack with the Avenger. Why?
It must have been a bluff. It must have been a very interesting play.
Yeah, that was curious. But before we move over and just gloss past it, I think what you talk about there is an excellent point for any kind of newer players that might be watching the stream. If you are running Blackwatch and you suspect your opponent to be running a Commonwealth win condition, try and hold that Blackwatch in your hand until like turn 10 or 11. because you only need to hit that Commonwealth once, and it's 14 credits and it's unplayable. As a big player of Commonwealth myself, I've been beaten by this strategy too many times to even think it's funny. But you know, it's a great strategy. Just trying to hit that Commonwealth with your Black Watch. Ooh, Sexton coming out there, pretty good for Ari to find that in the His Majesty's Chosen. Gives him some space to deal with.
I mean, just look at this hand from J King. I mean, just totally stacked. Like he he overdrew, but it doesn't even matter because he has B-17, another Grenadier, Corsair M4, and Rescue Mission as well. And Ari's only sitting on 3 cards here.
Yeah.
So like he can just start bouncing the Sexton. Yep. Play down the M4 and start going phase. So he could go for the Commando. Yeah, maybe that's better because that
Yeah,
can
I
just
really
trade.
like that. I personally really like the Commando play there, but what do I know? J King 7 opting to not send that back, but he obviously knows something the rest of us don't. Maybe he was just fishing for that rescue mission to pull that Grenadier Guards. Probably.
Yeah, now looking at what happened, definitely. Because, man, Grenadier Guard's such a big unit. Tough for Ari to deal with because he doesn't. I mean, he has Empire of the Sun. That would be a pretty insane draw for Ari right now. That would kind of help get him back into this game.
Yeah.
But even so, 3 Grenadier Guards, B-17. Already has a decent, or J King already has a decent board. B-17 is going to come down. I wonder what does he want to get hit by that? Probably the Sexton, so it'll free up his M4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he would definitely have definitely wanted to see the Sexton being hit there, either the Sexton or the Sendai Regiment.
So Carpet plus Sexton is going to be able to clear that B-17, kind of reset the board a little bit here. But another carrier cover right off the top can bounce that Sexton again.
Yeah, but I mean, as you pointed out, J King has such a stacked hand, and he's really not wanting for plays any one of these turns. I mean, he has 12 credits, and what can he do next turn? Well, he can play 2 Grenadier Guards if he wants. And if he ends up with a fairly untouched board like he has this time around, we might see something like the strategic planning come out.
Yes, see, strategic planning on this board, not great. Probably wants to get down the other Grenadier Guards first.
Yeah, agreed. I was just about to say probably trading that Corsair into the Kitty Hawk, hoping that he hits that, Sendai or that Sexton with the death effect. Yep, hitting that Sendai, getting that B-17 back. I mean, and then he has a rescue mission as well, and he knows that the only thing that Ari is able to really kind of effectively kill is going to be those Grenadier Guards.
Yeah, rescue mission is really showing how strong it is in the tournament meta, because on ladder you have those aggro decks that are going to kind of keep you in check, right? Because you can't really run a rescue mission on ladder. It'd be really tough. A 4K kind of a do nothing versus aggro. But in this tournament meta, it's completely different. It seems to really be about how much value can you squeeze out of every card. Because there's really, there hasn't been any aggro really, not in this tournament.
No, not in this tournament. I was quite expecting that we would see some of that kind of slightly higher curve German aggro, that Volksgrenadier encirclement combo, but Haven't been able to see that. Oh my god, look at that. Ari is at 30 HP and he's got the Commonwealth in hand. If J King does not recognize that and hit that HQ down below 30, he is dead next turn. J King.
Oh, yeah, what's J King gonna do here? He doesn't have Black Watch to snipe that Commonwealth. So what do you think carrier covers here?
He just has to recognize that he has to hit that HP below 30. And it's such an easy mistake to make. I mean, it is such an easy mistake to make. To just space on that for a second, you look at the HPs, all of a sudden you're like, damn, I just opened up the opportunity for Ari to win. No! Why?
So if he sends, if he sends that back, he can hit face.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
10 damage. You can do another 5. Yeah.
Also, I felt like for some reason sending that Black Watch back would end up knocking the Commonwealth above the threshold, which it doesn't because he's not the one holding it. So my reaction was a little bit overstated, but good play there by J King.
Although now his strategic planning is unplayable. It's at 14. Well, I guess not unplayable for this deck. Ramp can get over 14, but as his credits stand right now, cannot play. Oh, Ari has a double fortification.
35. Ooh, that strategic bombing couldn't have come at a better time for J King. Unfortunately for him, though, it doesn't take out the Pioneers there, which means that, theoretically, if Ari were given the chance, he would be able to play the Commonwealth next turn. But a player like J King, he doesn't fall for that. He makes sure that HQ is under 30 HP for Ari. And look at how long that Sexton has been on the field.
Oh, Ari going for the Commonwealth as a draw 4. Oh, man.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
So close. Oh, but now he does have Empire of the Sun, Lancaster. Okay. I mean, fortunately, he just kind of had to do it.
I mean, he had to do it, absolutely. But that is one of the most kind of gut-wrenching plays you can make in this game, in my opinion, is when you have to sacrifice your Commonwealth to just draw 4. Just the most expensive lend-lease you could get. But making full use of the Empire of the Sun here, killing that Grenadier Guards, drawing 5, and healing all the way up for that. However, J King playing that rescue mission to great effect and getting those Grenadier Guards back in numbers.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how many cards are left in Ari's deck after drawing 4 with the Commonwealth and then drawing another 5 with Empire of the Sun. Like, is he getting close to fatiguing?
Yes, I think there's like 3 or 5 cards left in his deck, looking at it right now. And if we look at his hand, what does he have in there? He has the Mosquito, he has the Black Watch, he has a couple of For Honors. He's got another Empire of the Sun, so I mean, he does have quite a bit of removal, but looking at J King's hand, on the other hand, I mean, you just have so many ways to deal with whatever Ari throws at him. He's got that Avenger if he wants to take out that Black Watch. He's got the high altitude bombing. He's got more Grenadier Guards. Man, he's got Grenadier Guards on Grenadier Guards. How many Grenadier Guards has Ari Big Ben played, this match? Honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think he's burned through both rescue missions, right? And they both hit Grenadier Guards.
Yes. And he's only got 2 left.
Yeah, he's burned through 4, so he has 6. So yeah, he's got 2 more. No, he has 3. He has 2 more in hand, one on the field.
Dude, that's too many Grenadier Guards. The number of Grenadier Guards is too damn high in this game. I mean, man, like if he's played and Ari's had to deal with 4 Grenadier Guards, that is 36 HP right there. And the surrender coming out from Ari Big Ben after the airstrike took out his Lancaster, squashing his last remaining hope. And J King answers back. Man, we got a series here. 2-1. Ari Big Ben versus J King.
Yeah, well played with J King, bringing it back from the brink there. Yeah, and Ari just went through his whole deck, and that Lancaster getting sniped by the air defense, that was the final nail in the coffin. So Ari now has to win. He has 2 more tries to win with his Brit deck.
Yep.
So here's the Brit versus Brit match.
The Britain versus Britain, the mirror matchup. It is happening right now. And we head on into the match.
So it looks like J
Let's see
King
what these guys
ditching all the expensive things, keeping 1 3K order in the convoy to draw cards. Honey is a nice turn 2 play.
Yeah, Honey is a great turn 2 play. That's exactly what you want to see turn 2 if you're playing Britain. It doesn't have kind of the same likelihood of being removed to turn 3 or turn 2 from your opponent as potentially the commando does. So absolutely great to get that out there. Ari with the 2 honeys though, and J King. Man, everybody and their honeys is out. These guys are gonna. Well, I'm just gonna go get some coffee because this game is gonna take a while. Blue. 2 cards being drawn there, 4 HP being added to the headquarters there for Ari. I do need to jump for 1 second though while I get another charger. So you're gonna have to be solo here for about 2 minutes, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's no problem. So looking here, what's J King gonna do here? Mosquito's a decent play. Drop that. Kill his honey. Blackwatch. Oh, looks like Blackwatch is gonna just snipe the Commonwealth here for Ari. That is tough. Making Empire of the Sun into a 12K order. But again, J King, we can do it. Yeah, just the healing in this game is going to be off the charts. And honestly, I think J King might have the edge here because he's running the Avengers and the B-17s, which come down and kill a unit immediately on deployment. Whereas Ari has kind of some more reactive cards like the Empire of the Sun as a removal. But, you know, using Empire of the Sun on 5 attack units is kind of a detriment to his overall deck count because that'll push him closer and closer towards fatigue damage. So Ari here has some options. He has double Sendai. Only issue with Sendai there is that it can get killed by the mosquito. It can get hit with carpet bomb. Looks like Sendai's going to come down, take out the Avenger. And he's just going to trade into that huge Blackwatch and try to prevent J King from using Rule Britannia to buff that into like an 11-11 with Fury.
Yeah. I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I leave and they're still at 20-something HP. I come back and they're at 40 and 30 respectively. Honey's putting in the work.
Yeah, I was just saying that J King might have the edge here in this sort of a matchup that's going to be high HP because he has the Avengers and B-17s that come down and kill a unit. And our Big Ben, as his kind of big plays, is like Empire of the Sun, which is, if he's doing that on 5 damage units, he's going to deck himself out really fast.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I feel like this is going to come down to fatigue.
Oh, Monty, a great pull there for J King if he wants it.
Yeah, Monty's great. Looks like he's going to go for the double trade. And I wonder if he, running a 2-5 into the 2-2 is nice.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was almost a perfectly played turn there, or just a perfectly played turn there for Jay King. I think he hit everything that he wanted to hit. And look at the hand of Ari Big Ben now. You know, he's dropping that 9K carpet bombing. He has a 12K Empire of the Sun. You know, if Jay King finds that other Black Watch soon, kind of at least two cards there in the hand of. Oh, already two cards in the hand of Ari are unplayable.
Yeah, the Commonwealth got pushed up to 16 credits, and then part of the Sun up to 14 credits for Ari.
So, you know, what you were talking about as one of his big plays, which are those two Empire of the Suns, they're not, you know, one of them isn't even in play anymore. So Ari's outs and Ari's ways to win have been diminished significantly here.
Well, Jay King was sitting on 43 HP, and he doesn't even have Commonwealth in his deck. This is all just like incidental life gain from the honeys, and then some with We Can Do It, just from drawing cards.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, he's got that other honey in hand as well, plus a lend lease. So if he ever needs a burst of HP, he's able to get, you know, at least 8 HP back by playing those two in conjunction. He also has a way to kind of remove his entire hand pretty much, right? He's able to play, you know, he's got 3 low cost units there that he's able to play really quickly in a turn. And yeah, I mean, I would say Jay King is in an exceptionally good spot here right now.
Wow, just looking here, you know, Jay King can play a carpet bomb and then run. Oh, he kind of has to kill that Lancaster, although the fighters block very well that bomber. I mean, he doesn't even really have to carpet bomb here. He could Cadet Nurse Corps. He could play Commando and then Cadet. Looks like he's going to go for the carpet and trade. Oh, and he draws the other M4.
Yeah. What was the card that he discarded?
He discarded the other carpet bomb, it looks like.
Oh,
he had 2.
Yeah, that's it. Now we start seeing some stuff coming out from Ari, but you know, again, his kind of primary win condition there looked like a lot of board control, a lot of hand control with the Takasakis and the German, no, and the Japanese kind of spells that he had in there. But Jay King's been able to turn that fully around, make that Commonwealth completely unusable, and now Ari is kind of in a lot of trouble. Because if you think about what's left in Jay King's deck, for instance, there's so many really, really dangerous cards, and there's one, the Sexton. Excellent play, however, by Ari, you know, making use of the full support line to play the Monty. That's another thing that newer players might want to look at when you're playing the game. If you do have Monty or any type of kind of pin, if the opponent has 4 units in the support line, you're able to block an entire turn from them so that they cannot play any units by pinning on that turn. And I think that was a good kind of read by Ari to do that there.
Yeah, and Jay King here, just still in a commanding board position. That Cadet Nurse Corps is a really interesting tech choice. Being able to heal all your units and give them a +1/+1 could be crucial here if Ari decides to play that carpet bomb and leave some of Jay King's units on, you know, 1 or 2 health. That'd be a major counter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, he's setting up for that Cadet Nurse Corps now, with that attack on the Corsair. Oh, but that carpet bomb, being blocked by Ultra. Holy moly, what an absolute value festival there for Jay King 7. Man, and the Cadet Nurse Corps that he has, plus the We Can Do It, he's able to massively buff his entire board if he wants it.
Yeah, I mean, he can make that Commando into a 1/6 and kill that Grenadier Guard and still keep his Commando, and he can Cadet Nurse Corps.
Yep. he can 1/6 kill the Grenadier Guards, Nurse Cadet Corps, and make it a 2/7 at the end of that whole play. Man, that is such a great play by J King. It's such a great play. And look, he does it again. He's making such good use of that Cadet Nurse Corps. I mean, if you guys wanted a tutorial on how to make that card work for you, you just saw it right here, ladies and gentlemen. J King putting on an absolute clinic on how to get value out of that card. 55 HP as well, man. That honey has been there since turn 2, just ticking away.
Yeah, and Ari is just shut down. I mean, his two big plays are unplayable. You know, he has fortifications, but what good are those without Commonwealth?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, they only delay the inevitable if you don't have anything to play off them, right?
Oh, I thought he might have gone for the Lancaster play there, but looks like J King just wants to like end the game. He wants to get in there and just close it out.
Yeah, I really love this play from J King. I love that he pinned the #1 commando there, knowing that it can trade up against any of those units in the front line. He pushes his units in the front line, puts a ton of pressure onto Ari Big Ben, and he has nothing to worry about. He's sitting on 56 HP. He could probably go get a coffee and not do anything for 4 turns and still come back and win. So I really like this play from him. We're going to see that Sexton come out again. He's going to pin that commando again and probably just go face here. Oh, opting to go for a little bit bigger of a face play.
Yeah, I mean, I like this a lot. Not that he needs to, you know, nerf the cards cost of Ari's cards anymore, but that's it. He's had enough.
Yeah.
GG.
I think, you know, unfortunate for Ari, definitely, but I think he correctly recognized that he was pretty much out of outs there against J King. I think that game was excellently played by J King. Just all credit where credit is due. And we've now seen him come back from a 0-2 deficit to tie this series into 2-2 and taking us to an absolute final game in this series. And that's going to be British versus J King's Soviet deck. So he's saving his best, most specialized deck for last.
Yeah, and Ari, he has to win this game here. He has to do it, you know? But yeah, this is going to be tough, I think. J King, the master of Soviet.
You saw what Ari typed to J King there. I don't know if the audience at home picked up on it, but it said no Blackwatch next game, please. Basically, really crying out. He definitely felt the effect of that Blackwatch.
That was devastating.
Last game.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, this is one of the biggest weaknesses. Yeah, like it's the biggest weakness of the Commonwealth deck. It's that Blackwatch. I mean, if you just happen to get Commonwealth into your hand before turn 12, you are so susceptible to it.
So turn 2 Honey coming down. Just one of the, I think the best play Ari could do it for this deck. J King doesn't have really any action until turn 3. It's like he's probably going to run out the Cossacks. Ari gets the counter though with the Takasagi. Matches up really well versus the Cossacks there. 3-6 versus 3-3. And what if J King's just going to hammer and start getting in there? Try to offset some of that life that was gained off the honey.
Yeah. Getting those Cossacks out in the front line, and now it's Ari dropping the Blackwatch.
Not nearly as good value as last game. Only hitting 2 orders off J King. Not quite the revenge that Ari wanted.
No, he didn't win the game by playing the Blackwatch on turn 5, which is basically what J King did last game.
So not a lot going on in Ari's hand right now, but once he can get to 10k, I feel like he's really going to take over this game with Empire of the Sun as a removal and then just refill his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Ari looking poised to take over this game with those two honeys in board, and J King not really having a good answer there. I wonder if we're just going to see J King bite the bullet here and spend 2 of his bloody sickles taking out at least one of those honeys, or if he wants to just let him keep trucking like they have been. But Ari being on 32 HP turn 7 is a huge concern for J King.
And I wonder if he's going to move up. Okay, he decided not to move up the guard. Interesting, the carpet bomb's coming down here. I guess he's setting up for a second carpet bomb next turn.
Yeah, probably. Great play there by J King. Also, recognizing that the text on the commando reads that if it deals combat damage, that unit is destroyed. The KV has 1 heavy armor, meaning that he doesn't take combat damage from that unit. So, neutralizing that KV1, neutralizing that commando, and keeping his KV1 alive.
Just a stacked hand still for J King. I feel like this whole tournament, his hand has just been packed full every game.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we see Ari kind of running away with the HP game a little bit. Engineers might be a really good play for J King here. Might help him draw this game out a bit. It also helps him get out of the Commonwealth range, right? So keep in mind, if J King is able to get his total HP up to maybe 30, 35, then it's going to become a whole lot more difficult for Ari to win using that Commonwealth win condition.
And kind of a nice interaction there with the honey and the KV. He's only taking 1 damage to draw a card versus 2. And Empire of the Sun, when it kills the KV, it dies, I guess, before the cards are drawn, right? So you're not going to take any damage.
Yes, it does. Also, in the last patch, a lot of things were changed with how concurrent actions are calculated in the game. So you should be seeing differences in, for instance, how the engineers how the engineers respond to units being killed, etc. So,
and signal regiment too.
Yeah.
Because now it counts everything all at once, right? There's really no. It doesn't queue really like it used to. Everything just goes at once, right?
Yeah.
So Lancaster can come down, kill that M4. Trade with the Hellcat. Okay, this is good. B-17, though, great counterplay. And too bad Ari, he did not really have the opportunity to hit face with that Lancaster to kind of nuke J King's hand a little bit here, make those cards more expensive. But Ari can Commonwealth next turn, though.
He can.
Put J King down to 7.
And I would expect him to do that as well. Yeah. Playing the Pioneer. Oh, wait. Not going for the Commonwealth there. Instead going for the Empire of the Sun and playing the Pioneers. It's interesting. What I think is also really interesting and a great play by Ari, and I think this is something most people maybe wouldn't recognize, is that he played that number 1 commando at the end of that turn to protect his Pioneer from another B-17. And this is something that I feel like a lot of players do as a mistake against US, is that they don't play around the B-17 or any of the kind of single unit removal spells So if you're playing against the US, you just don't want to end up with one of your big units on the board alone, because there are just so many ways for your opponent to deal with it. He can play Death from Above, he's able to play the B-17s, he might be able to play an Avenger on it. So in general, you always want to try and have one or more units on the board against US. Or against anyone running one of those US cards.
Yeah, that's right. You have to put out some more expendable units along with your essential units, just to, because a lot of the US base removal is random, right? So you have to just, you can take insurances against it, but ultimately sometimes it does just come down to RNG. Cross your fingers, cross your toes.
Absolutely. Man, it was a pretty good turn there for Ari, though. And he does still have that Commonwealth to deal 20 damage in a turn whenever he needs to. So J-King getting really lucky there, hitting the Grenadier Guards target that he wanted to find. But he's got the buckets. He's got the buckets in hand.
Interesting. He decided not to play the Heroes of the Soviet Union, maybe waiting to see what elite would fit best for the situation.
Yeah.
Here comes the tractor factories.
Wonder what he's going to take out with that.
Mosquito does the most damage on board.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. All right, only hitting 2 orders. Not too bad there for J-King.
Two cards coming up the top, 4 cards coming off the top for Ari. Going face. Okay, so he's just he's holding back with his guards, kind of shields her up.
Yeah. I think now he's starting to look. Was he running? No, he was not running Rule Britannia in his deck, right? I don't think so.
In Ari's deck, let me see.
I don't think so. I think his primary win condition is around that
No.
Commonwealth.
Yeah, like the Commonwealth, the Lancaster, and just beating down with Grenadier Guards and Mosquito.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so far, J-King has done a pretty good job at figuring out most of those puzzles. But there's still a ton of tools in Ari's toolbox that can help him win this game. So keep in mind, I question that move into the front line with that #1 commando there.
Yeah, it serves it up for a trade there. Oh, Sexton coming down on the B-17 with the Gren Guards to protect it from a retaliatory 6th Airborne.
Would you have moved that up there? The tank?
You know, it's tough. Some part of me wants to just be totally credit efficient all the time and just use up my credits and take front line.
But I feel like, what aggression are you really blocking there, right? I mean, the only thing that he could have done was push his pioneers and commando up into the front line. He wouldn't have been able to attack anything or deal with anything else. But maybe J-King's thinking, 2-3 moves ahead, and he's just saying, I would rather get that commando out of here now and just trade against this tank here instead of having to deal with it some other way down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah, it could have been the feeling like I have gotten enough value out of this Tractor Factories, right? Because he traded with a Mosquito, an RAF Lightning, and a Commando for 1 card.
Yeah. And now the Commonwealth coming out from Ari. Man, that swings things. All of a sudden, shaking down to 13 HP. Ari holding the front line with the Grenadier Guards. Going to be quickly traded, though. 6th Airborne coming in really efficiently there for J King. Night Witches. Wonder if we're gonna see that come out. Probably the bomber being played here, and the Firm of the People held until next turn. I think now, you know what? I think we might actually see this game come down to Night Witches.
Yeah, I mean, it's just J King has this such advantage with the first rifles and Night Witches that he can go on for forever pretty much, while Ari is already out of cards in his deck.
Yep.
Ooh, but Monty's a good one here. I mean, technically, he does have lethal next turn, right?
So.
Oh no, but he can Pershing. Oh no.
Oh, J King. What a player. What a play, J King. Euro Factories the B-17 and gets that Pershing. Man, what a great play. And that shows the proficiency of deck building for these players, man.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and now he has that in the front line. He can't be reduced below 1 HP. Ari can Sendai it. Oh, it could shell it first. Okay.
I wonder if that's what Ari is. Yeah. Ooh, I wonder if he wants to try and like do a little sneaky Sendai lethal turn together, but Naval Brigade coming out, really stopping him from having any long range damage to lob across the field. And I'm a little worried that this is going to be it for Ari here. I don't necessarily see. I don't see how he's going to deal with what J King has on the board at the moment. He can't.
He can't get through. Wow, J King brought it back from the brink. Congratulations to J King, moving on to the finals, knocking out tournament veteran Ari Big Ben.
You know what, Blue? I think this is the first reverse sweep in a best of 5 that I've seen in cards, and man, it was great. Woof! J King really playing that exceptionally well, and I'm really impressed by that Soviet deck. You know, like you said, with that first rifles plus Night Witches, he can just go on forever.
Forever. Yeah, forever. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just capitalizing on the fact that Ari is going to just deck out and run out of threats, and J King is never going to run out.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. And with that, we can see how this bracket is going to conclude. We know the final matchups of the second KARDS Open. It's going to be Darkness once again in the finals against J King 7 and Doge 34 against Ari Big Ben for third place. We are going to go straight into the finals here. The third place match will be cast and available on YouTube, along with the quarterfinal matches at a later date. Keep an eye out for when that gets posted. If you haven't already, go to YouTube, find KARDS, the World War II card game, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of the new content coming up there. I mean, for instance, me and Blue did a pretty fun patch preview thing for last patch, where we kind of talked about all these changes that we've been seeing come into play today.
Yeah, that was so much fun. That was like a roller coaster of emotions, going up and down, reading all the patch, or looking at all the new cards that are fixed and buffed and changed. But I think it's really shaken up the meta in a good way. We're seeing so many more new decks and new strategies, and just a lot of diversity of decks. It makes the game new and fresh, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's no lying about it. The summer was a little bit of a slow period. Kind of summer vacations ended up colliding a little bit, so we weren't able to get as much stuff out there during the summer months as we would have wanted. But I am so happy to have this patch out here now, and I can tell you that I haven't felt this much energy and excitement around the office since joining the company. Everybody is super, super pumped for the next kind of chapter in this journey that we're on, looking towards a mobile release in early 2021, looking towards the World Championship coming up, which is going to be super fun. I'm gonna be sending out some. I'm gonna be probably writing a blog with a lot of details on the upcoming World Championship, including how you, person at home, can qualify for stage number 3. So keep an eye out for that as well. Plenty of stuff happening here in the cards space. Blue, why don't you use this opportunity and tell people a little bit about your stream?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, I stream on Twitch, and I have been playing cards since, oh man, like August of 2019 in early access before it came out, and in full release. And this is just a game I've completely fell in love with, dove in head first. Uh, it's consumed all my free time, and I'm happy about it. It's great, and so it's been so much fun to stream it on Twitch and build a following and have a great welcoming community, open to beginners, and we have a lot of vets in there as well, and everyone's willing to share their experience with the game, and it's a really fun time. So it's my username, Blue Blast on Twitch. Definitely go and give a follow. And I try to stream, every other day or as much as I can. And I go through all the top tournament decks and draft, and so yeah, hope to see you all there. And thank you.
Yeah, definitely check that out, and especially try and look for some of those draft streams. I did one coaching session with Blue, and all of a sudden I was a draft king. So Um, I sucked at draft before that coaching session. I mean, honestly, I sucked at draft. I was so bad at draft. But since then, I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing pretty good. So, but I think it's time. I think it's finals time. Are you ready?
I'm ready. My body is ready.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
Let's go over these decks a little bit. Just before we head over into the finals again, as a reminder, Jay King is bringing his Soviet deck that we just saw do great against Ari's Britain deck, and we also see a British deck from him. Uh, That's also a deck that did really well for him in that mirror matchup, right? So fantastic deck, really centered around that Rule Britannia. A lot of buffs and HP gain in there. The Japan deck that we haven't seen because that was banned last time around. Maybe we'll see it in this series. And then finally, the US ramp deck there at the end to round it out for J King 7. But let's take a look at a refresher on what Darkness is bringing to the table. Why don't you go through these for us, Blue?
Yeah, definitely. So Darkness brought just a very strong lineup of decks here. Each deck very sort of like mid-rangey, almost heavy control, running the Avengers and the B-17s, and with Brit with the first deck, Commonwealth, Honey, we can do it. Lots of healing, lots of buffs, but not 100% relying on Commonwealth as maybe Ari's deck did in the last round. Having those B-17s and the Lancaster and the Grenadier Guards that you can just kind of beat face with. Uh, and then US going into kind of a heavy ramp deck, lots of ramp war machines. The new and improved carrier cover adds some kind of more utility, versatility to it. And again, topping out with like Pershing and strategic planning to make your Avengers into 8/8s and crash in for lethal. And moving to Germany, it's this deck looks great. I want to try this German deck on ladder. It looks really fun. Lots of removal, sudden strikes, tactical strikes, Admiral Hipper. It has the draw denial, but doesn't have the discard, so it's not weak to the M4A1s.
Yeah.
Uh, and then finally, moving on to Soviet, just a really strong, heavy control deck. Lots of early damage with Bloody Sickles, and then card advantage with the Night Witches, just to go infinite, gets you a removal, gets you a 1-2 bomber, and then first rifles, and then topping out with the heavy bombers um, and the Joseph Stalin.
Yeah, that's a very similar deck to the Soviet deck that J King is bringing. We also see the Ural Factories B17 combo in there. If you need to, I don't know, magically pull out a Pershing to win the game.
That's an insane play with Ural Factories on the B17. Just comes out of nowhere, 8-8 with Blitz, heavy armor too.
Just like pew, 8-8 with Blitz, heavy armor 2, and you paid 1 credit for it. I mean, technically you paid 10, but I mean, you paid 1 credit for it. All right, there we see the bans, the US ramp deck being taken out for J King and the British deck being taken out for Darkness. Darkness was one of the guys pioneering the new commando decks when that first came out, so not a surprise that J King wants to get rid of Britain, something that Darkness has gotten a really good grasp on, playing those commando decks and kind of tweaking those back and forth. This means that to play, Darkness is going to have his US ramp, his Soviet and his German deck, and J King on the other hand is going to have his British, Japanese, and Soviet deck. So we might see the first Japan deck here in this finals match. And indeed we do. J King bringing it straight out the gate.
And interesting that Darkness banned J King's US deck. J King's US deck has just been a card advantage machine. Like he just has not been able to run out of cards, and it's been a really strong contender. So I think that's a great ban there from Darkness.
Yeah, I mean, Darkness is just one of those players that I've watched him play so much at this point, and I feel like he's one of those guys that basically never makes a mistake.
Yeah, his plays are airtight, and I mean, turn 2 War Machine is what you want to see every game. No P40 to follow it up, but he does have a turn 4 War Bonds here.
Yeah, a little bit of the cheeky cheeky rescue mission being played there, with no possibility of it actually being triggered. Ooh, that Hellcat coming down, not making use of that blitz. He's definitely playing around the fact that he expects Darkness to ramp on turn 5 there.
And this is 9 damage here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost 50% of his life right here. He does get to clear with Carpet Bomb. Let's see, what does J King have as a follow-up? I guess Corsair.
Yeah, he does. He does have that Corsair. A very good play for him to get that out, but I would say Darkness probably doesn't play. No, he didn't have any unit to play there the turn before. Man, that was such a great play by J King, playing that Hellcat and leaving it in the backline. That's 200 IQ right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I feel like they have played these matches so much that you can kind of tell what Darkness is going to do almost. Like, he has to kind of go for a War Bonds here if he wants to keep up, yeah. Right? And so he capitalized on that. So
he's going to play high altitude bombing here, get his P40 again. The P40 is going to die, which means that J King can play his Shiden next turn and take him down to 2 HP.
Wow, and yeah, Darkness
and then he has
the Black
his desperate
Watch.
measures. He has desperate measures. So,
well, he decided not to go for the Shiden there. I guess playing around air defense. Darkness really bluffing it hard there.
That's a great point. I hadn't even noticed that. Just Darkness leaving 2 credits there. I wonder if that was on purpose or not. I mean, surely he knows there's a lot of Blitz aircrafts that can come out of the Japanese side.
Oh, 100% on purpose to deter J King from playing the Shiden. Yeah, 1000%. And at this level of competition, you kind of have to respect Darkness having their defense there.
Yeah, I mean, and this is like that level of play like that presence of mind, this is the reason why these players are consistently in the top, right? That's just the way it is. And now Darkness can drop 2 of those Black Watches and really push the cost of anything in J King's hand up a lot. However, J King does have a patrol there. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to help him, I think. But no, not with that HP cost.
Interesting. So he did test now for air defense, and so J King knows that he doesn't have it, since otherwise his Kagoshima would die. Carpet bomb, a nice clear here, and Darkness can push his life back up to 10, and now he has 8 points worth of guard as well.
And he has the air defense. He pulled it. He can fake it again next turn.
Wow, because I mean, yeah, if I'm J King here, I think, okay, either he had to have top decked it, or he just doesn't have it, right? So for me, doing the risk factor, it would be pretty low risk to attack into him now, because you're like, well, did he really just top deck it? But oh man,
and Darkness plays it to perfection. He plays it to perfection.
Because he has lethal here with Shiden plus,
of course,
Desperate Measures. That's 10 damage.
Desperate Measures. And it's exactly, oh my god. And Darkness played that to perfection as well. He went and he ramped twice and left everything open. And he's like, yep, you want to test me bluffing again? Go ahead. Go ahead, J King. Oh my god, that was such a great play by Darkness. And now he's got that Pershing, he's able to just push that up into the front line. But again, as we talked about, if you expect your opponent to be running things like the B-17s or the Avengers, don't just make plays where you play units absolutely dry. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tempting to play the Pershing here and get in for 8, but then he gets blown out by the B-17 in J King's hand. So yeah. I guess the safer play would be to like Corsair rescue mission, and we can do it.
Yeah.
It looks like that's what he's gonna do.
That's a fantastic play. And I love how, like, as we were talking about this, you could kind of see the same thought process going on in Darkness's mind. Kind of was hovering the Pershing a little bit, but ended up opting for the Corsair. I wonder if he's gonna carrier cover anything this turn. He's in kind of a rough spot. I mean, he doesn't have any units that he wants to play. He doesn't want to play the Pershing to just, give J King some draws by hitting that recon regiment in the front line. He doesn't want to play. He's gonna overdraw one if he plays.
He'll probably carrier cover, gain a credit. Or he'll bounce the Sendai. I guess maybe he's bouncing and then drawing mobile, because he has to play another card, otherwise he overdraws.
Yeah. 101st Airborne. That's pretty decent, but opting to go for the Grenadier Guards instead. I think that's fine. I wonder what J King is going to want to do here. Yeah, play the B-17, get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. A Darkness with a follow-up Avenger here, most likely. And now he can airborne kill the 33rd and then trade with the Sendai.
Yeah. Trade with the Sendai, and he has enough credits to B-17 afterwards, so he can clear the board there for J King and end up with 2 B-17s and the 101st. No, sorry, the Corsair B-17 and the 101st on hand. Continuing his ramp. And now this is going to be, I was going to say dangerous for J King, but he's making a great play here. Desperate Measures, bringing everything in close, and then the bombing raid on the headquarters, absolutely decimating the board there for Darkness, and putting Darkness down to 8 HP. King, what a great play there. And that was an absolutely fantastic use of the desperate measures there. And Darkness is putting King directly into the trap. He's like, kill that Pershing, please.
No, and he knows because otherwise Darkness would have hit face with Pershing.
Yep.
But again, he's in this tough spot where he has to kill something here.
You have to kill that Pershing.
Because he has lethal next turn.
And now you can't play the Avenger and guaranteed kill the Pershing.
Ooh,
Luckily,
hits it, though.
Does hit it, but that still doesn't change the fact that... Oof. Man, this game is real close. Wait. Strategic bombing 11. Darkness has lethal. He can strategic bomb. No, never mind. I was miscalculating.
What about strategic planning? That's 10.
No, he doesn't.
Not quite.
He's missing 2 credits for that. If he wanted to do strategic planning plus strategic bombing and then go face.
Three,
I think
10, 16. I think it's still a fair play to just kill Hellcat, push Pershing in the front, and then go for lethal next turn.
Do you risk something like, the Pershing just... I mean, he knows he's dealt with both the Sendais, but I guess that's the only thing that he would risk is like that Pershing just being Sendai'd or pushed off the field. I mean, Blade of the Samurai, for instance, could come in here and win it for King. I'm actually pretty curious as to why he would not play the We Can Do It there, knowing that King only had 4 damage on board, and that would push him out of lethal range.
Oh yeah, here goes.
Yep,
yeah, here goes
planning.
lethal. Wow, 16-16 Pershing.
Wow! Oh, that's such a great feeling. Probably, that is such a fantastic combo to end on. That strategic planning on that single Pershing is enough to take it up to a 16-16 and kill King's headquarters, bringing us to 1-0 Darkness leads. Next match coming up in the next 20 seconds or so. What decks do you think we're going to see in this coming match? Do you think King's going to bring Japan again?
I just going off last match, it seemed like King saved his Soviet for kind of his anchor, his fallback deck. So I'm thinking he's probably going to save that until the end again. Maybe go with Brit.
Yep, looking at it, it's going to be German against Britain. Germany against Britain. Oh. Leopold already in Darkness's hand. Do you mulligan the Leopold if you get it, or do you just like having it for the security of knowing that you'll have it when you need it?
I like to just wait and just top deck it the turn that I need it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're the one that relies on the luck, right? Just making sure the death from aboves and high altitude bombings hit the right targets and so on.
Yeah, I just know it'll hit the right one.
You will it into existence. I like that. Another sudden strike in hand there for Darkness, so he's able to deal with that honey right away again if he wants to. I would expect him to do that and just hit face with that tank in the front line. The Whirlwind.
Yeah, the Whirlwind's such a nice kind of efficient card for the cost. 2/3 for 2 with Blitz. Nice stats and a nice ability as well to pin aircraft.
So would you say that, for Darkness there, turn 4, it makes more sense for him to push more power on the board instead of getting rid of that honey early? I mean, he can get rid of it any time he wants, really.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much right now, I don't think. I think his more of a game plan is just building out his board, right? Kind of trying to go wide, and then using that sudden strike to kill the honey when he kind of feels like it. But the Sexton coming down is a really nice play for J King. Locks down that M4, kills that Whirlwind in one shot.
Yep.
So Darkness just has to ramp here. Nothing he can do. The Flame Panzers are kind of dead cards. I think the only target is Pioneer in the whole deck. And that's only for ones, so then the other ones are just 3/4s for 3.
Ooh, interesting there that J King opts to just trade the Whirlwind into the M4 instead of using the Sexton to get rid of it. Oh, Darkness, you do not have another unit type, so you're not able to kill that Sexton with that tank.
So decides to go face rather than trade with the M4. Get the value trade there. I guess he wants J King to use his own credits to kill his Panzer J versus Darkness making it cheaper for J King to kill his guy. But then he does open himself up to an Avenger, just like we see here.
But now he's got that Leopold that he has had there since turn 1, and he's able to get rid of most of able to get rid of the entirety of J King's board. But that pushes that Avenger like out of play as well. So getting rid of a really powerful card there for J King.
And a golden Avenger at that. I'm jealous. I'm just waiting. I'm sitting on my stockpile of resources till we can craft our own golds. Then I'm gonna gold it out. My own collection.
There's gonna be something like that in the future. I can pretty much guarantee it. A way for you to bling your deck. Will it be gold? Will it be diamond? Who knows? Yeah, J King opting to just get rid of that M4 by playing the Mosquito, but he knows that the Mosquito can be traded.
Yeah, and I think it's too good. Well, that's the thing. He could have lethal in 2 turns if he can protect his Pershing or his Leopold, but he can't. He doesn't really have he has to just go for that Mosquito, otherwise J King's going to get the trade. So then the question is, do you play the Tiger E as just a big threat, or do you discard those Flame Panzers and go for a special delivery and try to hit? Yeah, well, who would you try to hit here?
Why would you not just play both Flame Panzers there?
You could. The thing about it, that's a kind of a go wide strategy there, and Carpet Bomb doesn't kill them. They kind of have that sweet spot at 4 HP where they don't get killed by Avenger either.
That's what I was thinking, because I feel like that J King has another Avenger, right? He might not have it in hand right away, but you know that he has one. So you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit with that Tiger IE, with very few other threats that J King has to worry about or deal with on the board. So I'm kind of, and again, I'm a worse player than Darkness, so don't take anything I say as truth. But I'm thinking that maybe there's some more value to be had there playing those.
So he did end up playing them, but kind of maybe a turn later than maybe we're thinking. But still, look at this board.
It ends up working out for him anyway. And I mean, I also see J King's hand, so anything that I think of in this context is kind of dismissed in real game situations.
So what can J King do here? He could get down the B17.
Well, I mean, I really want to see that Hannah Montana deck.
Was that a sneak peek there?
Apparently. All right, interesting. Kind of forcing Darkness to wait. So Darkness has 6. He has 12 damage that he can just pour out right now onto the HQ if he wants to. This is 4. This is 8. This is 11. Yeah.
I really like that, because then yeah, 12, right? Puts him to 2, and then Comet. I mean, if J King, we can do it, so that'll put him at 5. Comet is 4, but then he'll have the 2 flames in the front line, which is 4 plus 3 is 7, so that's more than 5.
The question I always ask myself in this situation is, am I able to put enough threats on the board that my opponent can't deal with it?
Wow, he just decided to go for that.
Man, he played that Arado to sacrifice it to the gods, and it worked perfectly.
That was perfect, man. That was such a risky play, though. I mean, what if that killed the Leopold?
But look, now I feel like he's in a little bit of a bind because of exactly what we talked about. J King was actually able to B17, get that East Surrey out, and actually is now starting to pose some questions for Darkness's path to victory.
Yeah, I think trading here is good.
Again, he's posing that same question. What are you going to deal with on my board? You can't deal with it all. But as I say that, J King draws another B17, so now he's able to get rid of at least 2 of those units.
Man, second B17 coming down. Let's see what it hits. Hits the 2-4, not super good.
I think that was the second B17 top deck in a row, by the way. Autocannon, Comet, that's 9.
Oh, wait. No, Comet plus... Yeah, with Comet, that's lethal. Wow, GG. Yep. Darkness taking 2-0 in this series versus J King in the finals.
Somebody needs to get a fire extinguisher and put this guy out, because he's been absolutely burning through the competition. Both in the first KARDS Open, he didn't even drop a match there, and this time around we haven't seen him drop a match either, and he's 2-0 up against J King, just 1 game away from that second KARDS Open title in a row and his share of the $1,000 prize pool. Man, is there any tournament that this guy is not able to just crush?
Oh, okay. Looks like we're going right into game 3 here.
Yep, game 3 coming out, and it's the Soviet deck from Darkness against the Japan deck from J King. And you gotta think, J King knows he's going to be going up against Darkness's Soviet deck. The deck list is public, which means that J King knows what that deck entails. He is the foremost expert on Soviet in the world, so he has to be picking the Japan's deck for a reason here.
So yeah, Darkness with the turn 1 Night Witches kind of pads his hand out here with some early plays. Question is, does he go for just the turn 2 Katusha? It is the most credit efficient. You won't get the blitz hit out of it.
I think the blitz hit just isn't as valuable once it costs 1 credit. So I think it's perfectly fine that he does that. I wonder, yeah, he's going to play the bomber here before he attacks with the Katusha to kind of spread the likelihood of that 2 damage tick hitting that Katusha. Great play there by Darkness.
Really, yeah, kind of hitting the face was the best outcome as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that emote. Bitter cold, bitter enemies.
Yeah, that's the unlockable for completing the Russia campaign, Theaters of War, right? With all stars.
Yep.
That's the one I still have not done. I've done all 4 of the rest of them, but I've been holding off on Soviets.
So the Soviets also the most difficult one, I think. Personally, I think that personally.
Hmm.
Darkness finding really good success here early, and him having those 2 units in the backline that are able to trade without receiving damage is a huge benefit from him at the moment. Yeah, and the Akita hitting the 3-4 there as well, not losing a unit either. Darkness is finding himself in a really good spot here, and now he has a From the People, so he can take out that Corsair immediately if he wants to with the Katyusha plus From the People.
It's really nice to see that second rifles coming in here as just a 3K 3-4 with guard and +2 attack against blitz. Like really efficient. It was one of those cards that was tweaked with the recent balance update, and it's cool to see this card now seeing play at the highest levels of tournament.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to commend Darkness for his play there. I think he played that in terms of ordering his turns pretty much perfectly. He attacked with the Katyusha to start it off, made sure that he got that second proc there, and tried the other Katyusha, and then ended up finishing it off with a bomber, saving his From the People for a unit like the Hellcat.
Could have even potentially used that top deck naval brigade as well, but yeah, getting down the M4 using From the People, it's a little more credit efficient.
Yeah, and you know how we love credit efficiency. Siberian Transfer can come out here, and no, it trades. Unfortunate. Yeah. All right, just playing the guard.
It's a little risky.
It's definitely a little risky. Yeah. Let's not forget that amphibious assault exists in the game, though. Your second rifles might be powerful, but they're not as powerful as amphibious assault.
Yeah, and J King has Blade of the Samurai, and he has Sendai, 2 more ways to deal with another guard if Darkness decides to drop his other second rifles. Yeah. But he's had enough. He's like, you know what? I'm not taking the risk anymore. I'm just going to trade.
Yeah, and he played his parade there and got a duplicate of the B-17. So he now has 3 B-17s to play for the remainder of this match, and that could actually be a huge, huge factor in this game. When you're on the back foot like this, like Darkness, when you're under so much pressure like he is right now, just getting those B-17s and being able to play them regularly and take pressure off the board on play is just such a huge thing. It helps you so much.
Oh, J King with To the Last Man, but doesn't really need to use it quite yet. Looks like he's saving it to get more value, like wait until Darkness drops the Joseph Stalin or another B-17.
Yeah, but now, I mean, what we know, but J King doesn't know, is that there's another B-17 in hand for Darkness. So
yeah, this is going to be rough. I mean, Darkness is down to 7. Okay, J King decides to hold the Kagoshima.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for him. That leaves that Sendai perfectly open for that second B-17. But, I mean, at the same time, J King did bait him into putting both those B-17s on the field at the same time, making this a really valuable To the Last Man. Jesus, that was wiping off, 25 credits off the board right there with those 2 9-cost B-17s and the 7-cost Avenger. Huge value there. But look at J King's hand. He's poor on cards.
He's poor on cards, and Darkness just, like, what does he take here? Does he go for a second Joseph Stalin? Or does he go for another KV-1? It's a little bit different of a threat.
I feel
going,
like
going
I
with
feel
the
like
star.
that. Yeah, no, I feel like the KV1 would have been is the right choice here. It just puts added pressure on the board, no matter what.
When a top deck high and off the top puts Darkness down to 2, but he's going to put himself to 1 with the Bloody Sickle. Really living on the edge here.
Yeah, just don't bloody sickle that other unit, my friend. All right. However, I mean, wow, what a tight game. What does J King do here? I mean, there's nothing really he can do except just hope and pray that. I mean, I guess he has one Akita left in his deck, 1 or 2 that could, damage proc. He's not running the Mito regiments, and he's not running the Taipeis or any burn in his deck, right?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm trying to look. Does he have like Desperate Measures?
Oh yeah, he does. He does have Desperate Measures, and I think Desperate Measures is actually the only thing that can really save him. And here we go. Darkness wins the second spin with a 3-0 victory against J King 7 in the finals. Man, Darkness taking home the back-to-back wins in the KARDS Open. Exceptional play, not dropping a single match. Congratulations to Darkness. Man, Blue, what a player.
Wow, absolutely insane player. Congratulations to Darkness. Of course, J King put up a great fight. These guys are just 2 titans of the KARDS competitive scene, and they put on a show for us today, didn't they?
Absolutely. I gotta say, this has probably been one of the most entertaining tournaments I've watched in play. I feel like we got a lot of really, really deep strategic matches here. We got to see some new deck variations. We got to see some new strategies there. Some big plays with that Euro factories into that Pershing. Man, overall, it's just a fantastic day of KARDS action.
Yeah, this was so much fun, and congrats to everybody who competed. They, grinded through all the Swiss rounds and into the best of 5 top 8 matches. I mean, these guys played a lot of KARDS over these past couple weekends, and really paying off there for Darkness with his second KARDS Open win in a row. Congratulations, buddy.
So, by the way, Darkness went 8-0 in the Swiss rounds.
8-0.
He won all of his Swiss round matches. He 3-0'd the quarterfinals, he 3-0'd the semifinals, and he 3-0'd the finals.
It's a legend status right there.
That means he won 17 games in a row against the best KARDS players in the world to claim this second title in a row. And if we take, maybe production can tell us, did Darkness drop a match during the Swiss rounds in KARDS Open 1? Because I know he didn't drop a match in playoffs. Yes, okay, so he did drop a match there. But that means that if we take a total number of games that he's now won consecutively in a KARDS Open tournament, that number currently stands at, he won 9 plus, what, 8... 27.
27.
Yeah, I think I'm correct in saying that. 9. Yeah. 25. 25. They say you should never do math on air, and I think they're correct. But around 25 to 27 games that Darkness has won in a tournament setting in a row. And for me, that's like an undefeated MMA fighter or something like that. That is absolutely massive. It's something we've never seen before in KARDS.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just taking it to the next level, and I'm just so happy that the tournament scene, competitive scene, is where it's at right now. I mean, it's really been fostering this high level of competition, which I love in this game, and so I can't wait to see what the future holds for more cards esports.
Oh, we have so much fun stuff in store. And a little like I'm not going to reveal anything on this stream, but I would say lock down your calendars for 14th of September already, because you're going to want to have that day for free, so you're going to be able to watch some cards. Announcement coming tomorrow. Stay tuned. But all right, I think this is gonna call it for us this time around. Blue, we're gonna get together again. We're gonna cast those quarterfinal matches and the third place match and get those uploaded on YouTube in the next few days. But before I sign us off, do you want to leave the audience with a few messages?
Yeah. So, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you guys for playing cards. Of course, check out my Twitch channel, Blue Blast. I do competitive decks, draft, deck building. Great community there. And yeah, thank you to Ollie for co-casting with me. It's been great today. Thank you to 1939 and 983 Media for putting this all together. Really, really nice production, guys. And I had a blast today.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a blast myself. Man, this has been such a long day, and I expect it to be completely drained from all energy right now. So, I got up at 7, I had a flight at 8:30, I did a 6-hour workshop on esports coaching. I ran into an upstairs meeting room which I'm in right now with all these trophies behind me, and I casted this, and I was expecting to fall asleep on the way home, but man, I am so hyped. This was such a great tournament, and competitive cards just always gets me going. Thank you to you, Blue Blast, for coming and co-casting with me. Thanks to 983 Media and 983 for all their awesome production work here and facilitation on this tournament. Check out their channels wherever they may be. My name is Olikrummi Steinarsson, and I've been your host. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for playing cards, and we'll see you in the next tournament. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys.